Okay, friends, let's go through what materials we'll need for this experiment. First, you'll need some pipe cleaners. I have not tried to do this using an alternative, but pipe cleaners are awesome because we can shape them into whatever shape we want. So we'll start with those. We will also need some string. Any type of string works. Yarn is also probably fine. Kite string is probably great. Any sort of string. You will need some jars or cups or some sort of container. You will see when I do the experiment that I have to use different sizes due to the size of my pipe cleaner shapes. You will need some tape. You can use popsicle sticks or pencils, or I used colored pencils. It will be they will be used to tie the string around. Popsicle sticks probably work best because they are flat and they don't roll around like pencils, but I didn't have popsicle sticks, so I used pencils and they worked just fine. We are going to be using boiling hot water, so this is where you need adult help for sure. This is called borax. This is actually used to wash our clothes in the washer, but we will be using that to form our crystals. And last but not least, you will need some scissors, okay? Alrighty. All right, friends, so first things first, I am going to be forming some shapes with my pipe cleaners, okay? You can choose whatever shapes you want. You can do what I'm doing or pick something that you like. This is going to be a flower. So I have twisted the yellow pipe cleaner to make it into a swirl. And now I'm creating my stem. You might need some help from a parent. I'm trimming the stem because it was a bit long. I also made a pink one. I'm also going to make a couple of hearts. Pipe cleaners are super easy to bend and twist, so you can make whatever shapes you want. Maybe you want to make a circle or a star. You can see that it's pretty easy to shape into what you want. I also made a red one. Now I'm trying to get a little creative here, and you'll see that I'm going to try to write the word mom in case you want to use this as a Mother's Day gift. Again, this might require some help. I had some trouble doing it. You can tell in the video that I am struggling a little bit. Let's fast forward. So you can see it ends up saying mom, and I'm going to trim the end. Now, for those of you who maybe want to use this for a different person or for a different holiday, I'm also going to try to make the word dad. You can try to write your name. You can try to write your teacher's name. Not write, I'm sorry. Make your teacher's name. Maybe you want to make your sibling's name. I will warn you that some letters are harder than others. I'm trying to make the word dad, and I am having a hard time. I'm going to fast forward. You guys can see it kind of ends up looking like the word dad, but I definitely struggled a little bit. My D looks backward. There we go. That's okay. Anything you guys want, okay, friends? Anything you want. This is what I chose to do. You can choose something different, okay? All right, friends, the next step is to tie strings around your pipe cleaner shapes. Okay, I just tied them in a little knot. You can see that there. Next, you are going to tie those strings around your popsicle stick or a pencil or a pen. Like I said before, popsicle sticks might be better, but all I had were colored pencils. Now I am checking to make sure that my pipe cleaner shape will fit in the container. I'm going to pause and say something really quickly. This is very important, my friends. You do not want your pipe cleaner shape to touch the bottom of the container or the side of the container, okay? That is why I am rolling up the string and taping it so that my heart is dangling in the center of the container. You don't want it touching the bottom or the sides, okay, guys? Now that one is good to go. Next. Again, I'm rolling up the string because it's too long. I'm taping it so that it stays, and I'm making sure it fits and it doesn't touch the sides or the bottom, okay? Perfect. There we go. I'm going to check all of them. I had to dig through my cupboard and find containers that would fit. This one is a bit large for this container, but we're going to make it work. I'm adding my tape, and I'm making sure it's not touching the bottom or the side. Okay. It barely made it, but it's good to go. We're going to do the same thing with the flower. The pink flower. And I saw that my red heart could actually fit in the same container as my purple heart, but I'm making sure that they're far enough away from one another so that the hearts are not touching each other. You don't want your pipe cleaner shape touching anything, okay? You want it dangling in the center all by itself, except in this case where the container is big enough for two. All right, friends, here we go. I'm pausing. This is where, again, that boiling water comes in, so we need help from an adult, and we're adding in our borax. So borax is this powdery substance that when we put it in the boiling water, it's going to dissolve. I'm adding my borax 1 tablespoon at a time. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, I would recommend using about 4 tablespoons of borax per 1 cup of water. Okay? The more borax, the better. I learned that the hard way, so trust me. And I'm using my spoon and I am mixing until that borax dissolves. Another thing I read online is that you know you have enough borax when you see it start to collect on the bottom, which means that it has stopped dissolving, or when you see that the water is remaining cloudy. That's when you know you have enough borax. That might even be too much, but the 4 tablespoons to 1 cup ratio is probably safe. All I'm saying is you can't go wrong with a lot of borax, okay? So I have my solution, my friends. I dissolved my borax into my boiling hot water, okay? Now I'm going to very carefully take that pot. I'm using 2 hands, and I'm using oven mitts because it's very hot, and I'm going to pour the liquid into my containers. Very carefully. Do you guys see the steam? It's super hot. I filled them all the way almost to the top. I did it with all of my containers. And then I carefully picked up my pipe cleaner shape and placed it in the solution. Remember, it's not touching the bottom and it's not touching the sides. Okay? Now I have all of my pipe cleaner shapes resting in their containers with the liquid. And now look, my friends. Okay, I'm pausing. This is after about 12 hours, I believe. I'm trying to remember. About 12 hours, I saw crystals starting to form after just a couple of hours. The longer you keep these in here, the bigger the crystals will get. I thought that mine were at a great size, so I felt we were good to go. Depending on how much borax you put in your water, it might take longer. Online, I was reading anywhere from 12 hours to 24 hours, so you might just have to be a little patient, okay? But look, you can see that the crystals have formed. They're in the water, and they're also on my pipe cleaner shapes. Look at that. Now, after I removed the leftover liquid and the pipe cleaners, I had all these leftover crystals stuck to the side of the containers. Now, real quick, I want to explain, especially for mom and dad, how to clean this up. I wasn't sure if borax crystals were safe to go down the sink, so I boiled some more water and I poured it into my containers, and I stirred and stirred and stirred until I was able to separate the crystals from the containers. Some of them dissolved, and I poured out the liquid, and then I used a strainer to catch the crystals, and then I threw the crystals in the trash, okay? So not too difficult of a cleanup, but a little bit time-consuming. All right, friends, the final product. Look at my crystals. Guys, see how sparkly they are? Now, I have some sad news. You can see that my M here got a little messed up, okay? The crystals detached because the bottom of this actually crystallized with the bottom of the container, and it got stuck. And so I had to use a butter knife, and I had to, almost like a pickaxe, I had to get the M separated from the bottom, and I ended up having to use some boiling water to break apart the crystals. And so some of them fell off, and I was very sad, but the other letters look good. Okay, friends, that's our final product. Those are our borax crystals.